So I'm taking ferry for Tangier to Tarifa. Africa, exciting man, exciting. A lot of great dates.
It was a little bit cold tonight. So, and here I arrived at the border with Mauritania. And that's the trucks line over there, waiting for the border to open. And I'm sleeping on the gas station. Yeah, looking forward. Exciting.
So what is the idea? Starting in my hometown, I want to travel across Europe, down towards Gibraltar, and then continue on the west coast of Africa, all the way to Cape Town, crossing African continent on bicycle. This is one part. The second part of the venture is to capture and share whole experience, discovering local culture and traditions, discussing interesting facts about history, politics, and economy from local and Western perspective. In the last two parts, I cycled through Europe until I reached Tarifa, at the southern tip of Spain. And from here, I'm taking a ferry across Strait of Gibraltar to the fourth largest town in Morocco, Tangier.
إن كنتي حقيقة حبي تساعدني، طالب منك كلمة واحدة حبيبي وتحبيني. لما كنت صغير ما عرف حتى الدنيا، كانت أمي تفهمني معنى الحلوة وحب الحنان، واليوم جيت تصرحيني بحب أقدر عادي، وتقولي نخلي بدي تحبي أفرح ليه، عرفاني بأي وجه ما نخليش اللي كان يفرحني ويسعدني وأنا عرفته من زمان. لا 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 أنا لا أقدر عليه، مهما يكون الحب فيك أنا أخليك باللي بيه.
Moving inland, I continued to city Chefchaouen, which thanks to its unique colored old town center, called Medina in Arabic, became famous tourist destination. However, there is no concrete reason why the Medina was painted blue at the first place. The Blue Medina is one of the most sought after attractions in northern Morocco.
country is full of contrast. First, yesterday there are kids which are throwing stones at me almost whole day long, different villages, you know, touristy, not touristy. Still, I mean, these kids are really harassing and it's not nice. But then I go to cafe and the guy invite me for coffee, and then I was asking for some place to put my tent and camp for a night, but you know, they just referring to another village. I was very disappointed. And then in the morning another guy just invite me for a coffee and he's very happy, don't want any money. So yeah, full of contrast. But it seems like when they speak Spanish or say hola amigo, then that's a bad sign.
A fertile land with the landscape dominated by flat plains and green hills eventually transits into the Rif mountain range. Unlike the rest of Morocco, which had the status of French protectorate, the Rif region was under Spain, and back in early 20th century, for 5 years, even had its own breakaway state, the Republic of Rif. With a population of 37 million, mainly living in the coastal areas, it was often challenging to find good camping ground.
الخرجة من الحمام مهدي الناس سلام وليلى على الله وهي ناس المليحة ماما يسوليتي.
So that's Fes.
الله يا البنات الكية منين جات.
As a part of UNESCO heritage, the old town of Fes was founded in the late 8th century and is considered to be one of the largest medinas in the world.
Fes Medina just arrived, and yeah, it's a nice place.
A big contrast can be seen between the old town and the nearby city of Fes. I enjoyed my stay in Fes, strolling through colorful Arabic markets and tasting delicious food.
تلقي الطوموبيل خليها تميل ولا اله الا الله وهي ناس مليحه ماما يسوليتي. الخرجه من الحمام مهدي الناس سلام ولا اله الا الله وهي ناس مليحه ماما يسوليتي.
One can easily get lost in the charming narrow streets of Fes, which also serve for defensive purposes. Away from tourist traps, one can still find people performing traditional crafts, like making jilabas, a traditional attire used in Morocco.
الله يا البنات الكية منين جات لا إله إلا الله وهي ناس المليحة ماما يسوليتي. الله يا الشباب حلوا لي الباب.
Among other things, city is famous for leather dyeing. There are 3 tanneries operating in traditional way, from which distinctive scent of ammonia can be often smelled in the city. A national motto of Morocco. From Fez, I continued to Ifrane, also called Switzerland of Morocco, due to its European style of architecture. Justified by occasional heavy snowfall, it attracts locals and tourists from Arabic countries. I was slowly leaving the fertile north of the country, with a large population density, where I got an impression that behind every tree, bush or stone there is a Moroccan peeping out. When I asked a local friend about it, he joyfully replied, "This is unemployment, brother." Located in Middle Atlas mountain range is Ifrane National Park, with its ancient looking cedar forest and wild monkeys. Hello, donkey.
Yeah, that's the monkeys. Middle Atlas in the national park close to Ifrane, which is quite a nice place and full of monkeys, macaques, and yeah, they are quite friendly. So. Cold and very pretty. Well, it doesn't look the best for me. Let's hope that this big cloud will just pass. Yeah, I wish to descend a bit since it's quite high over here. So my shoes got wet, so yeah, I have to kind of improvise. And yeah, otherwise pretty good. And also I have to warm up the battery before I turn on the camera or my phone or anything. So yeah, it's a process, but so far so good. Sleeping in -5 in Atlas mountain in 9 degrees sleeping bag is no fun. But yeah, first time the snow or the ice is inside, so that's quite cool. No fun at all, to be honest. Pool stuck, so I have to warm it up. Silly, but it works. I mean, no fun at all.
Upon entering to Morocco, I started to learn basic Arabic phrases to help me to communicate. However, I was surprised to learn that Arabic language is mainly spoken on the coastal part of Morocco, while inland is dominated by Berber/Amazigh. having their distinctive culture, language and alphabet. One word I recall is Bert, meaning cold in Berber. I was happy that the roads were free of snow. Although the temperatures were well below freezing, the region receives very small rainfall. Back in 2002, it actually did not rain at all. As the apple trees prefer colder climates, it's hard to grow them in Africa, but they thrive here in high altitudes of Atlas. From Middle Atlas, I continued through High Atlas. Although the majority of Moroccan 4,000-meter high peaks, including the highest peak Toubkal, are located close to Marrakesh, the views on my way were still spectacular. In the heart of Atlas Mountains, more than 2,000 meters high, stands town Emil Shil, where I visited traditional Berber cattle market. As my gear was not meant for cold weather, I was eager to descend from high altitudes of Atlas.
Oh man, I don't like these kids at all. No, not really, to be honest.
مراقي البز تاع حمام ضد وبن النغجر جلف ناس كمير
There is a very noticeable difference between Western and Arabic culture. Etymologist Elizabeth Warnock, who lived in Morocco, concluded that both Western and Arabic cultures are essentially too stubborn to see each other's side of the story.
Oh, wow, he's big.
وغارق داغ نسمود عليا من وين سنغي وين يدارنك شمغي السنين غارق داغ نسمود عليا من وين الناس سنغي وين يدارنك شمغي السنين الناس سنغي وين يدارنك شمغي السنين الله اكبر يديك ليل الوين الله اكبر يجي ليل واللي في اسمه يكرهها مسكين
Todra Gorge.
Yeah, I just met the two guys on the motorcycle, and I said I'm going to Mauritania, and he said I have a good life. It's interesting. I mean, it's kind of struggle to travel like this. It's not so easy, especially it's cold and stuff. I mean, it's nice to see all this, but it's also kind of lonely. I think it's a point of view, but let's see.
Yeah, and that's a desert out there, from high Atlas to desert.
Yeah, immediately got myself equipped with one of these cars. So yeah, fair enough.
I passed the Todra Gorge, and here I arrived in Sahara.
After passing through Todra Gorge and Tinrir, I arrived to arid land of Maghreb region, with visible patches of Sahara sand. Leaving beaten track behind, I entered less popular destinations, where I had a chance to experience what Moroccans are famous for, and that is their hospitality. I was lucky to share laughter, food and roof with locals. Something what would rarely happen in Europe was happening here almost on a regular basis. After High Atlas, I was undecisive about which way to go next, whether to visit popular site of Ouarzazate with the large movie set, featured in almost every movie with the desert scene, like The Mummy, Gladiator, Star Wars or Lawrence of Arabia. The second option was to go opposite direction, making detour towards Algeria and the desert, visiting fellow traveler, heading towards Rainbow Gathering, happening in the middle of nowhere. In a situation like this, I toss a coin. Although my stay at the Rainbow Gathering was short, it certainly taught me a lesson about friendliness and solidarity, where many uncommon practices felt natural and upbringing. It felt nice to be part of the group after traveling alone. Sitting and cooking on a campfire have its magic, and being nice to others is important and even essential. However, not that easy to learn in this world. To avoid making a large detour, going back the same road, I decided to cross 60 kilometers of unpaved road through desert.
Sahara Desert. I mean, the road is excellent. Some kind of compact gravel, amazing.
However, the good road didn't last for long, and with my thin tires, I had to push majority of the way.
These kind of former riverbeds are the worst, because you always can expect to push over there, since it's some sort of sand, like soft sand. Yeah, I don't like to push, to be honest. So finally, after traveling through desert, I make it to a first village. I'm welcomed with the very nice oasis. So just found the dates. They're a little bit dry. It's a long way. Not much going on around here. Luckily, wind is favorable. Otherwise, it will be boring to cycle over here. Camels. So the warning was good.
The only company I had through long stretches of roads in southern Morocco were herds of camels and never-ending stream of tourists. After the Rif, Middle and High Atlas, I entered Moroccan last mountain range, the Anti-Atlas. But before visiting my favorite city, Tafraout, I made a detour to Ain Mansour Gorge and Oasis. The story of Oasis. Long time ago, when the earth was paradise, all people were loyal, trustworthy and honest, and lies did not exist. But after some time, people start telling lies, small and insignificant, but lies nonetheless. Upon seeing this, God summoned all the people and said that for every lie uttered, I will send 1 grain of sand to the earth. 1 grain of sand can hardly be even noticed, thought the people. But soon after, Sahara Desert appeared and quickly consumed the land. Although rare, small traces of paradise, the oasis, can still be found. This because heart of some remained pure.
كيف بندلك عليك كتشد لي عينيك مشات عليا خلاتني نبكي مشات عليا عمر لي قلبي
Amlu. This one is made of almonds and honey, some kind of homemade. I wish it's almonds and honey, but looks so. And then argan oil, but not so sure about. It's eaten with the bread and it's very delicious. It's like a liquefied peanut butter.
كيف كندلك عليك كتشد لي عينيك مشات عليا خلاتني نبكي مشات عليا عمر لي قلبي إذا ربي بغاني يخليها قدامي حنعرفها كتشتاق لها قلت لي يا عويشة انتي يا كي المشيشة كيف كندلك عليك كتشد لي عينيك مشات عليا خلاتني نبكي مشات عليا مرت لي قلبي إذا ربي بغاني يخليها قدامي
Ma wyborni.
Kanchi gulash.
قالي يا مليكة يا كي المنيكة.
Despite countless amazing encounters and friendships I built while traveling, meeting someone with whom one shares language and culture is unique. I felt lucky. It made my stay in Tafraud very enjoyable.
This is how it looks to edit the videos, and this time in Morocco. And yeah, that's all the videos from Spain. The video is super long and it takes forever to do this. But it's nice to do in Morocco because it's first of all cheap and the food is good and people are nice. And yeah, I wish I could speak more Arabic or French or something. So all good.
Moroccans are also very outgoing, as people tend not to spend much time in their houses during the day, but rather engage in social lifestyle, especially meeting in small boutiques, sipping to the traditional mint tea and debating. Although it mainly applied to the male population, while females can be seen chatting in the backyards. Hammam, or a public bath, is a place where one can for a small charge use the facility to take a bucket shower. It comprises of multiple small rooms with different temperatures, usually heated by the fire from below. Indigenous to Morocco and area around Tafraud are argan trees, which kernels are used for making argan oil.
And this is how the almond trees look like here in Tafraud. It's very common.
And harvested almonds is one of the ingredients for the traditional amlu, or the cheaper version is made of peanuts. And this is the machine which is used for making amlu. Sardines and kebab, also called brochette, is often served in the local market, the souk. rocky terrain of Anti-Atlas and Sidi Tafraout, I approach Gulemim, also called Gateway to Sahara. I pass Sidi Tantan, and after more than a month cycling through Morocco, I finally arrived at the coast of Atlantic Ocean.
It's a little windy today. Luckily I have this spot hidden from the wind, so quite saves me.
So, how strong is the wind? Well, without me pedaling, I'm going 46 kilometers an hour. So, I guess it's quite strong.
Courage is fear that has said its prayers. Moroccan proverb.
One of the annoying things about the Sahara and this Maghreb region is that apart from being sandy, it's also dusty, and the dust makes everything dirty. Makes one a little bit angry because it's really not much you can do about it, and that's, yeah, that helplessness, it's really the annoying part. Well, I was so impressed with the mud structure I slept in yesterday, so I decided to take some of the mud with me.
Entre.
Soon after I arrived to the coast, I entered the Moroccan region of West Sahara.
That's a loader, and I'm complaining about the bicycle being too heavy.
With the wind in my back, I quickly progress on the smooth roads through West Sahara.
Saint-Antoine d'Exupéry. Antoine d'Exupéry.
And this is Port Victoria, also known as Casamar, which originally served as fortified trading post built by the British. Famous French writer and aviator Saint-Antoine d'Exupéry was stationed in Tarfaya for 2 years as an airmail pilot, and that's where much of the inspiration for his books come from. As the air transport route started in French Toulouse heading to Dakar, many other references to him can be found along the coastal towns like Mauritanian Nouadhibou and Senegalese Saint Louis.
A shipwreck ferry which was going to Santa Cruz de Tenerife, which is about 100 kilometers from here. And yeah, the ferry system stopped in 2013 because of some migration and high prices and all that. But the legend actually has it that there are some very nice cars inside.
Accounting for 3% of Moroccan GDP, fishing industry in West Sahara is a significant part of Moroccan economy.
Morocco is one of the largest exporters of phosphates and fertilizer, and that's where it actually comes from. 100-kilometer long conveyor belt. When you bring the phosphates to the factory, it's the largest in the world. This is how the coastline in West Sahara looks.
The area, which is now called West Sahara, was under Spanish control. In 1975, Spain stepped down and revoked its claims. Afterwards, a local group called Polisario started claiming the region and demanding independence. In short, Morocco stepped in and by forced intervention eventually became in control of large and economically significant part of West Sahara. For the dismay of local inhabitants, the conflict lasted for 20 years, with the involvement of neighboring countries and foreign powers. To prevent any possible disputes, Morocco is significantly investing in the region and populating it, which includes construction of roads and cities, with heavy deployment of security forces. Together with phosphates, fishing is the main source of income in Western Sahara. Moroccans often relocate to find jobs in the fishing industry, creating villages like this.
Bonjour, makeshift mosque.
Former capital of Spanish West Sahara lies on a narrow peninsula called Rio de Oro. Dakhla is the last big town before Mauritania. Hops, most common bread in Morocco. An amazing Moroccan pastry with a peanut filling. The local currency dirham can be approximately converted 10 to 1 with the euro. As distance between towns in Western Sahara are very large. Hunger brought me to one of the fishing villages, where I got lucky to taste today's catch. Needless to say, it was the best fish one can have. I personally felt very safe in Western Sahara, where police often call me in the evening, asking for my whereabouts and assuring my security.
I was heading to this nice water over here, and bloody barely got out of it, to be honest.
After almost 6 weeks spent in Morocco, I arrived in Guerguerat, serving as a border crossing between Morocco and Mauritania. From this point, I'm planning to cycle to Nouadhibou in Mauritania, and from there, maybe take a ride on a famous iron ore train.